Hey guys, today we're going to be giving you a tour of my house here on Vancouver Island. I bought this place as an absolute crack shack about 4 years ago to what it is now, a house with a bike park in the backyard. So come on, let's check it out. First, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tour of the outside of the house and kind of the external landscaping and garbage removal and big external changes that I made to this house when I bought it. I bought it for the land. It's got 5 acres of beautiful dirt, great slope, like perfect for building bike jumps on. So the first thing you can see at the house is obviously I have this big open gravel parking lot. This didn't exist when I bought the place. This was all just garbage and crap. There was a whole pergola here covered in weeds and thorns. The front of the property was just a mess. There was broken concrete everywhere. I had to clean that all up and clean the immediate areas surrounding the house before I could do any renovations. I got a bunch of rocks from the local quarry here and stacked them all with the machine and tried to make like a little bit of a parking area in the front of the house to tidy it up. That was a fun thing to, play around with landscaping. I've built jumps for 20 years, but I've never done any type of landscaping just for aesthetics. So kind of fun. Here at the front of the house, it used to just be a shoebox. So it was this big square, ugly house. There was holes in it. The roof was leaking, the whole exterior of the house had to be replaced. And then I also added on this front addition to the house. So the place, a big issue that I have that living on the side of a slope is that drainage. Water comes down the hill and it was hitting the house and it was going into the foundation and filling and flooding my basement with water. So what I did is we dug an 8-foot trench around the perimeter of the house, repaired all of the cracks in the foundation and laid perimeter drainage. So I hired a general contractor to take care of building the house, but I actually milled all the wood myself and then did all of the disposal. Probably the biggest challenge for me was milling the wood, but it was sweet. I have 5 acres of wooded property and there was a lot of deadfall that had been sitting for probably 40, 50 years, and a lot of it was cedar. Using my buddy's mill, we actually milled up all of the wood for all of the decks on the house and all of the framing in the house. So all of the studs in the house are milled from fir trees on my property that have been sitting for a long time, so they're completely dried out. Their moisture content was low enough that I could use them for framing, that it wouldn't warp, and they'd pass the building inspection. And then on top of that, we milled up a bunch of cedar that I built my front and side decks with. That was a huge cost-saving thing while building this house because, I was building it mid-COVID, and it was hard to get supplies and materials and everything doubled in price. Doing it as much myself saved a huge chunk of cash. For the exterior of the house, I decided to go with this dark, stealthy gray black. I've always kind of liked things that are stealthy and low-key, and so I was really stoked on that colorway. They were also just you have 2 choices and one of them is black during COVID. So yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. It kind of gives Batcave vibes, which is pretty cool. We'll cruise along here on the back of my house. I have the deck. This deck was actually existing, so this is I think the only thing of the house that I kept existing from the previous build. The deck was in rough shape though. The whole thing was slimy and green, so I power washed, belt sanded, and then restained the whole deck, and it turned out pretty good. So right here I have an old stunt from a video. It was like a gate. You could cruise along the driveway, hop up onto my deck, and then jump off the gate into this landing, into this little free ride shark fin line we built for a video a couple years ago. So it's out of commission right now, but I'll probably re-up this in the next year or 2 for some new stuff. So we're here on the back deck. This is where I spend most of the time in the summer when I'm not riding. So I come out here to work or, work on the bike, do emails, chill, have dinner. Beautiful view of the yard. We get crazy good sunsets. From the top of the house, you can see the ocean, so that's pretty cool. We love hanging out here while people are riding or, having beers out here in the summer and chilling. This whole property just used to be loaded with garbage. I can't even explain how much of a mess it was. It took me 6 months to clean up with an excavator and recycling and garbage runs and burning stuff. There was 12 outbuildings here that were all just floor to ceiling garbage. They were all rotten. Nothing was salvageable. There's also a bunch of broken down cars, tires, glass, roof shingles, metal, you name it. Diapers, it was disgusting. The previous owners who lived here would just throw shit off the deck. I definitely found a couple spooky things when I was cleaning up the property. So there's a couple graves at the bottom of the property. One was a dog grave and one was a horse grave. So when I was digging in the excavator a couple years ago, I kind of saw some remnants of, I was like, oh, that's a horse. Buried it and kept those demons buried. So yeah, we don't go down there anymore. We're gonna be talking about the yard and doing a tour of all the bike stunts and the jumps in the yard in the next video, but today let's go check out inside the house. Building a house is super cool because you get to design it yourself. We're happy it's home now. This is the front entryway that I built and added on. This is an extension to the house. Here come my cats. This is Fudge. This is my boy Fudge. He's 9 months old, so he's my little man. He's the king of the castle. Say hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is my other cat. This is the real reason I built this house, is so I could have a casa for the kitties. This is Mooney. Mooney's named after an airplane called the Mooney, because obviously I love airplanes, and Fudge just looks like a piece of fudge. Say hello, Mooney. So this is the main living room area. Got a big couch, TV, gas fireplace, cat tower for the kitties, obviously. But this layout is completely different than when I bought the place. Like I said before, no like entrance extension when you came in the house, and there used to be a wood fireplace in the middle of the house that was right here, and then the whole area was just carpet, and the carpet was wet and moldy, and it was just disgusting. I knocked down some of the walls in here, made it more open concept, added a bunch of windows to get natural light, because before this I lived in a basement suite for like 10 years, and it was super dark and dank, so I wanted a lot of light, especially that I'm in a forest and the house is surrounded by trees. So adding a lot of windows was super important to me to, you know, feel like you're not living underground. Fudge is very photogenic. He's like, you're doing a house tour, but let's make it all about me. Day in the life of a fuzzy house cat. I got the kitchen table here, and this is where I do most of my work each day. Being a pro mountain biker, it's not just riding bikes all day. I'm probably on the computer for 4 to 6 hours a day, just doing emails and meetings and stuff. Leading up to my event, one of the guys from my local community has been volunteering and helped me out digging. He carved me this wooden plaque for the event, so it's really dope. I love it. It's got, you know, the house, the jumps, the plane, a cat on the roof. Art's really important to me too, whether it's paintings or photographs or, you know, steel or wood. I love all things art, so pretty much everything in the house is from friends, family, or local artists. So like my brother Liam, who's filming this, you right here, Liam shot this photo of Mount Tantalus in Squamish out of my old airplane about 5 years ago. So that's pretty rad. It's the big mountain you see when you're in Squamish riding. Local artist made this, bunch of gifts from family members. I love having art and things that inspire me and things that I'm passionate about. So pretty much all the art in here is bike or airplane related though, so it be me. Pretty basic open concept kitchen. I knocked down a wall here, opened things up, added a bunch of pot lights, hanging lights, some sconces, as well as put in like a gas range and hood fan. New everything, new countertops, new floors, everything. So the floor was full of asbestos and vermiculite. I had to get a lot of asbestos abatement done, which was super pricey. There's like toss on another 20 grand to your budget for something you didn't know was gonna be in the house, but had to do it. I also have like a walk-in pantry here. In the hallway here, I do have 2 tenants that live with me. So one's a paramedic, one's a massage therapist. Kind of sweet, if I get hurt in the yard, the paramedic's here, and then I got someone to help me rehab. They both ride bikes, they're both super cool. So this is one of my tenants' rooms. We're not gonna go in there, obviously, but I'll show you the downstairs bathroom. Pretty basic, just got like a vanity mirror and a stand-up shower. We did some pretty cool tiling in here, which was nice. I didn't want to go with like your standard kit shower that was just plastic. I chose a bunch of, you know, custom tiles and we did that. Just a few more like art pieces in here. Like my dad gave me this art. His friend painted it, and it's actually me riding on my first trail bike ride on the Sunshine Coast, and I think that was 2013. That was a Friday ride with all the guys at Cro-Mag, and I was, I think 8 hours in at this point, just suffering. But you know, I took the picture, and then my dad surprised me with this for Christmas one year, so it's pretty cool. I like that kind of art. More bicycle art, not Industry 9, but it's still super cool. I hope she's taking shit. So the laundry room, it's kind of good to have like, you know, separate room to do your laundry and take muddy bike clothes off. So I hang dry my clothes in here. Got a little vanity to wash like riding gear if it's super muddy before I chuck it in the wash, and just kind of a, you know, a good mud room to have. A little sliding pocket door here to close it off from the rest of the house when I don't feel like being too tidy. All right, we'll head upstairs. So this was really interesting, this staircase, because this was existing, but when I bought the house, The staircase was actually up 2 feet, so you had to duck to not hit your head here. Whoever built this house back originally in the 60s did it really kooky. There was a lot of weird changes like that, but let's head upstairs. Something really funny about the upstairs of this house is that the roof was only at 7 feet and standard roof height is 9 feet. So the roof was just like right over your head here. It felt like you were gonna hit your head on the roof when you were walking through. It was really odd feeling. The space felt really tight. When I rebuilt the whole house, we actually had to raise the roof of the house. And to do that, we cut with sawzalls around the whole perimeter of the roof of the house. And then we used car jacks on 2x4s and jacked up the roof. And so the house looked like it was wearing a hat. It was pretty funny. Like there was a gap between the exterior walls and the roof, and it was just sitting on 2x4s, and then we tacked it all in. And Mooney wants to be on camera. I also got really comfortable carpet up here, and that was something that I wanted. You know, I wanted carpet that I could just lay on the ground and stretch and relax. I brought home carpet samples when I was building the house, and I had my cat kind of feel each carpet. The one that the cat lays on is gonna be the carpet I go with, so we went with that. All right, let's head into the primary bedroom. So this is my room. I don't know what else to say. It's a big bedroom. The main things for me in here were big windows that I could see the yard and get a lot of natural light in. I put in a king bed and a walk-in closet and then an ensuite bathroom. Still kind of furnishing this room with more paintings, and I'm probably gonna be putting some floating shelves. Just kind of make it feel a little bit more homey. Walk-in closet. It's absolute chaos right now because I'm gonna be building a closet organizer system and like drawers and all that stuff in the next, once winter hits and I got some more time. This is the bathroom. So this is probably my favorite room in the house. It's got heated floors, got a big shower with like a rainfall head, another nozzle, and then I've got a big soaker tub. When you ride bikes for a living, you're always crashing, you're always sore, and I really wanted a tub, a place, you know, I could actually have like hot salt baths after riding and kind of loosen up a bit. Dual vanity. Yeah, I love this room. It's kind of just peaceful, surrounded by trees and quiet. It's been a dream of mine to build and own a place like this since I was a kid. So I've lived in cheap, you know, basement suites and grungy apartments since I was 18. As you know, the West Coast is like insanely expensive. So I was able to save money through working and while I was going to school, and then becoming a professional mountain biker to, you know, in my 30s, finally make like something like this possible. And it's awesome. I love it. I'm still kind of adding on it, you know, little personal touches here and there to make it feel like home. So we did all the grunt work and built the whole house and did like to the 99th percent done. And then that last kind of 1% of like putting closet organizers in and putting shelves up is kind of taking me a couple years, but we're getting there, and yeah, I'm stoked. So obviously a big thing when you're buying a house and renovating a house is crazy cats going a million miles an hour. But no, obviously the big thing when you're buying a house and renovating a house is the cost and staying on budget, and how much are these renovations going to cost realistically. And I'd never renovated a house before. I bought the property, and like I said, house basically a tear down, but for mortgage and financing purposes, I couldn't rip the house down and start from scratch. I had to renovate it as is and keep the footprint the same. The general contractor I used quoted me $300,000 for the renovation, and from selling my past house and buying a dumpy property, that was in my budget. I started renovating, started building, and it was during COVID, and a couple things happened. One, material prices skyrocketed during COVID. So things from wood to hardware to appliances to breakers to roofing to siding, everything almost doubled in price. And then when we started to dig into the bones of the property, we found a lot of unexpected things. So doing the perimeter drainage, there's $20,000, and guess what? The septic system was toast. So the previous owners hadn't emptied it in like a decade. It was overflowing, it was ruined. So had to dig that whole thing out, put a new one in. There's another $35,000. The house was full of asbestos. There's another 20 grand. And all these things just kept adding up. It was really stressful for me while I was building the house because I had the place torn apart. I'd put all my money into it. You can't just stop. The house is worth nothing if you stop mid-reno. You need to finish it. I took on a lot of additional work projects that year, took out lines of credit, borrowed money where I could, refinanced with construction mortgages, and was able to pull it off. It's worth it. I love it. You weather the storm and you get through it, and I'm really stoked on what I have today, but it's still like I'm perpetually house poor for probably the next 15 years until I pay it off. We love it. All right, we'll cruise around the side of the house and go check out the basement. So the basement is the one part of the house I haven't renovated. It fully just ran out of cash. I stripped it out and cleaned it out as best as I could, but it's still pretty disgusting and I just use it for storage right now. In the next few years, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna renovate the basement and turn it into a basement suite so I can have tenants down there, generate some rental income, and then I'm gonna build a garage and shop next to the property, and that's where I'll keep all my bikes, home gym, and be able to do all the work I need to on my bikes and tools and stuff. Alrighty.
What's the code?
6969. Yeah, this is where all the spooky demons are, so let's come check it out. So this is the basement. Right now it's just chaotic storage mixed with housing essentials like hot water tanks and heat pumps. You know, it's a work in progress, so building a basement suite or even renovating this, it's kind of funny. I'll give you an example of kind of how shit this house was and what the previous owners did to try and rectify that. Forward-facing wall had cracks in it and it was leaking water into the basement. So instead of fixing the cracks in the wall, the previous owners were like, I'm just gonna build some French drains and we'll just drain the water through the whole property. And then they dug a hole under here, dug a hole there, and then they put a pipe that goes out under the door and just tried to drain it into the back. That probably worked for like one season and then it totally clogged. And then when I bought the property, the basement was full of water and this is just does nothing. For the time being, it serves its purpose. A place to keep my bikes, a place to work on bikes if the weather's too crappy to work on the deck, and just kind of keep odds and ends until I figure it out. So, you know, renovating the basement is something I could have done by now by myself. I live out here in the woods too, and so I have like a security system and security cameras to keep things locked up. Always have people around, so that's good. It's nice to have that when you have a house out in the woods that, you know, my tenants are always here and there's always someone around riding or living here or chilling. Well, that pretty much does it. Thanks everyone for coming and checking out my house. I know I had questions from people to show you it for a while. Check out the next video we're gonna do where I give everyone a yard tour and show you all the jumps in the yard. So thanks for hanging out. Peace.